Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. We are all very different, very individual. And with that comes some pluses and some minuses. Nothing negative here. That's what makes us who we are. Accepting that and maybe making some adjustments once you've accepted that is where you move your life forward and you realize why you're here, the purpose that you've been placed here, and suddenly you have peace. It's like you figure it all out. We're going to talk about that today. She brings a wealth of knowledge when it comes to energy healing as a psychic as well, and a coach, and so much more. Alisha B joins us again here on the program. How you doing today?
I am doing great. I say that, but the energy's still thick, but I'm making it. How are you?
Very well. And you are referring to the energy that is around us,
Yes.
astrologically, if you will.
Astrologically and I guess geologically with Earth works with the universe, so all of that together, some thick energy.
But it's way out of my wheelhouse, but I recognize it. I somewhat understand it and power through it. Yeah. Once again, I mean, if
Yeah.
somebody's feeling, heavy relationships, communication, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's a reason for it. We have some
Yeah.
interesting planetary transits taking place now.
Oh, goodness, don't we?
Uh, yeah, this is in our lifetime somewhat unprecedented, as I understand it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. I think it's like 400 years ago is when this kind of energy was available or out there. So
Wow. Thanks
I
for
wasn't
sharing that.
there.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. People say I was. Well, you know what? Hold on a second.
I might have been.
You might have been.
Yeah, true, true.
So we all have a past, and
Mm,
a lot of our past dictates our future and present,
mhm.
i.e., limiting beliefs and things that we we experienced, but sometimes we don't realize it. What's holding us back? And then there are things that took place in our past that maybe we need to accept. What's your overall thoughts on that?
Um, oof. In general, like a brief intro would be we are all unique individuals. And I'm not saying that from an external perspective, right? We all look different. We know that. I'm talking about soul, purpose. The reason we're here on this earth, why we chose to be here is all unique to us individually. And what we often forget is we don't need to compare to other people because we are unique. The comparison that we do brings down that vibration, which we've discussed many times, and puts us in a negative headspace. And then we start manifesting negativity for ourselves. But, just recognizing you are who you are, be comfortable with who you are. It's a long path to get to, but it's so important.
That comparison that we make, is that the ego?
It is. It is. If you think about a lot of the times I can speak from personal experience here. Just comparing me and my sister growing up, okay, I always had curves. I was back in the 90s. And so that wasn't the thing. My sister was the runway model type. And that was what everybody, was that was the body type everyone wanted to be. So I started putting myself in a negative space and putting myself down. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm too heavy. I need to do, X, Y, and Z. And I trapped myself in a dark cycle for
Mm,
years until I realized what was happening. And when I let that go, I'm not a runway model. I'll never be a runway model, but I'm happy with who I am. And this is coming from somebody, again, personal information here. I was 300 pounds at one point
wow.
because of my cancer treatment. And so with that, I have lost a lot of weight, but I have loose skin. Again, probably TMI for most people, but I accept myself more than I have ever accepted myself, which blows my mind daily that I think I am perfect the way I am when I was 130 pounds and thought I was 300 in my head. That's what I envisioned. But it was comparing myself to people constantly that put me there.
I I get what you're saying in some regards. I was the fat kid. I was the bullied kid. I have a twin
Mm-hmm.
sister. She was thin. And, when it came to life in general, dad would throw the ball to her. I didn't get it. And, a lot of that, just stands in the way of life.
Yeah.
But don't you look back now and say, cancer treatment, deal with, the weight challenge at that time. You look back and say, look what I did. Look what I did.
I do now.
Yeah,
It
me
took
too.
it took years, but now I look back and I'm like, wow, if I would have just sat with myself in the moment, I probably wouldn't have spiraled into that dark place because look what I've accomplished. Look what I've been through and came out the other side. And it wasn't coming out the other side because I was keeping up or competing with people. It's because I started to care about me.
Hmm. Yeah. I had a similar conversation with somebody in the past month or so, and we came to this realization, and we say this, and every once in a while, if I'm feeling it, I'll text them these words. We are, insert word starts with F, blanking warriors. We're all
Yes.
warriors when you think of what crap we've been through. Just think about that for a second and pat yourself on the back. What
Yes.
you've gone
Yes.
through in life might not be medical, might be relationship related, might be horrible divorce you're dealing with or dealt with, might be you lost a job, but you figured it out, and then you pile it. Look at you, look at you.
Mhm.
We don't do that. We just beat ourselves up.
We do. And everybody goes through struggles. And I know we say this to each other like on a daily basis, we all go through struggles. But the truth of it is, we do go through struggles. And the
Yeah.
important thing to remember as we go through them is not to lash out at other people because
Mhm.
they don't have this struggle, right? This is an internal battle that we're fighting.
Sure.
It is more important to, like we've said again, trust yourself, get quiet with yourself. Because when you learn to accept you are who you are, there is no changing who you are. You're going to be who you are no matter how you look, no matter what you dress in, what car you own, or what home, or how much money you have. You are still going to be you. And you need to take time with you to understand that you're unique and beautiful in who you are, no matter what you've been through. And you have the ability to break out of anything that's caging you, anything that's keeping you down. You have that innate ability to break yourself out of that and see the world for the beauty that there is.
And it might be tough to do, but take inventory like they do in a store. Go through the shelves. We got over here. Oh, we need some more of that. Well, we got plenty of this, and it's the expiration date's fantastic. All right, take the inventory in yourself. What do you have working for you? Maybe it's your personality, maybe it's your talent, maybe it's already you've realized resilience, whatever it may be. Document it physically. And we talked about this before. Write it down, see it in
Yes.
front of your face. Don't write the negatives. Yeah, you already know what those are. But many of us don't realize what the positives that we have. And go deep, really go deep in that.
Yes. I would say challenge yourself. Challenge yourself every day to write three things that are positive about you. Just you, not something that's like, oh, I have a great relationship, because that's a joint effort.
Mm,
That's two people, but you as a person. Like for me, it would be my growth. I've grown to accept and sit with me. I used to be a person that had to be around a lot of people. I needed the social setting. I needed validation from people constantly to feel like I mattered in the world. Now I've grown to where I matter because I'm inherently here on earth. We all matter. If you are physically present, you matter.
mm,
And being able to understand that and accept that as a truth for yourself is so freeing. It will release so much from you when you just accept that I have a reason to be here. I may not know it yet, but I have a reason. And now I'm going to start figuring out what that reason is or what passion drives me and head that direction because that's going to continue to open me up.
Even the way you interact with people, think about that. You may be that person that lights up the room when you walk in. If you're not it doesn't matter either. But if you're one that can carry a conversation or you have a great sense of humor,
Mhm.
that take stock in that. Write that down as part of your inventory. Um, how how else can we accept what we've been through?
Like past events of what we've been through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recognizing them is the first thing, is what that event, acknowledging any emotions that it brings up, whether good, bad, indifferent. You need to work through that and then release it. I like to call it my RAR method, RAR. And so it's for me, cancer was a big deal. Cancer changed my entire life. I have 2 years that I have no memory from due to the treatment I was receiving.
Wow.
And I woke up, so to speak, at that 300-pound mark. I went to sleep at 130, woke up at 300.
Wow.
I didn't know what was going on. I felt lost. I was confused. Life was different. What happened? How did I get here? I just went to sleep. And now, the next day, because that's what my brain said, it's different. So I had to sit with myself and say, okay, you may not remember that 2 year span, but what you do have is you're still alive. Your health is improving. And
Wow.
now you're searching for something that connects with you on that passion, that emotional level. Then I was searching for my purpose here. What is my reason for being here? I've tried all of these things, they didn't stick. Now I'm waking up 2 years later, and that those things are not an option because my brain wasn't working at the time. So where do I feel that I can impact people and help people? Because I've been through something, just like you've been through something, and everybody listening has been through something that can connect with another person and bring them out of that dark place they are located. Because we all have the experience, we just fail to share it with one another.
How do you not jump down the victim rabbit hole? Because you could have 2 years later looked at everything and said, why me? Why do I have to deal with this? How did this even happen?
I will say that goes back to my parents. My dad used to tell me, you can do anything you set your mind to. I took that to heart as a kid. I tried everything under the sun. And when I came out of, or when I got diagnosed with cancer, actually, I never thought, oh my gosh, this is happening. Like, why me? My direct communication with my doctor is, what's our plan? Where do we go from here? I'm not quitting. I can do anything I put my mind to. And my mind says I'm going to beat it.
Mm.
And power of your brain and your ability to tell yourself anything is possible and really trust and believe that you can make that happen.
Isn't it amazing that many of those things that our parents said to us that, when we were younger, you just, you write it off. You could have been 12 and your parents said, maybe you're dejected. Something happened. You can do anything you put your mind to. And when you're young, you're like, what do you know? You're old. But now you look at it and it is essentially what we've talked many times about, manifestation.
Yes,
How does that go?
yes,
The energy flows where the attention goes.
yes.
So whatever you think can become your reality and does for many people in
Mhm.
terms of them manifesting it. So yeah, you can do anything you put your mind to. You really can. I try not to say never. Like, I wish I could play guitar. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say I could never play guitar. I don't cook. I could never cook. No, I know I can. If I put my mind to it, I can. Do I want to?
Yes.
I don't really, doesn't excite me to cook. I don't have a passion for it. I'm just, I want to eat and get done. I don't have this, it's just not me. Look, do I like a good meal? Sure, but it doesn't. And I have other friends that will look at an event and say, and I have a friend who's an event planner. He's like, "Look at the menu. This is incredible." I'm like, "Dude, it doesn't do anything for me. It's good. Yeah, that's right. I don't eat when I'm at things. But if I wanted to cook, I can figure it out. You
Yeah,
really, when you boil it down, you really can do anything you put your mind to.
you can. You
Yeah.
can. And we self-block on that. We hear it and we're like, man, I have requirements. I have things that I have to do that I'm told I have to do, especially as an adult, right? Adulting is hard. It's even harder when we don't know who we are as a person, because then you don't know where to go or how to manifest things and put things positively in your life. You're just seeing all the bad aspects of it because we go from carefree to adulting, and they're not a good transition by any
Mm, so true. And until you figure that part out, you feel like you don't fit in life. Yeah,
Yes.
it just in a weird kind of way. I'm here, it's all good. I'm happy for what I have. I feel out of sorts. Like I'm not fitting, as opposed to when you've released a lot of this stuff where it's just like, oh, this life's good. We're good here. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's getting better. There's good things coming our way.
I will say when challenges do arise, those are lessons for you. And I know we've talked about this before, but like with cancer, I was going down a path. Well, I was in a job at the time that it did not connect with me. I was going through the motions. I was doing what we do in our society of I have to make money. I have to pay my bills. So I have to keep this job.
Yep.
Granted, I'm not saying anybody else is going to go down the same avenue that spirit shifted me to, but then I got cancer and that was my moment to pause. So what I'm saying is take your moment before something big happens to pause with yourself. Evaluate what you're doing with your life and if that connects to you. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Start figuring out your passion. I had a client who I think we talked about this, was working in education, but their passion was 100% about art, bringing art to life for people, evoking that emotion when they put it down on canvas. But they set it aside because society said you need a real job. But those intricate things like art, writing, that is individual to each person, that is where you come in as being that unique person that needs to accept who you are. You don't have to always do what society says as far as career choices or making the big money. Spirit, your angels, source, God, universal, energy, however you name them, are here to help you and support you and want you to succeed, want you to be happy and do things that resonate with you. And our society says that's not good. Don't do that. And
Mm.
so find your path, find your true path. And if you're struggling with it, find someone who can help you find your true path.
Yeah, like you. Um, what you've said this before, everything in life is a lesson. Why?
For a multitude of reasons. One, we're here to learn. The reason we chose to embody the time that we're in now is to learn lessons, to figure out the ins and outs of the human race. We're here on a soul mission to kind of gather information and bring it back to source creators so they understand, source can get a better intimate understanding of what it's like to be a human. Our creator is never going to stand in a physical body, but we have the privilege to do that for our creator and bring back the information. So if we're not learning lessons here, what are we going to bring back? What are we going to share? How are we going to evolve our souls if we're not taking the time to learn along the way?
Are we here not just to learn, but are we also here to teach, learn and teach?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. I actually, so funny you brought that up. I had a short channel message in a group that I work with, other readers, and I'm going to pull it out real quick.
Sure.
It said that you're here to lead and guide others, to help them elevate, to learn their strength with and connection to source, release doubts, fears, stagnation. That's what humanity's here for. We just don't realize it yet.
Hmm. We also need to realize that while we're doing that for others, others are doing that for us.
Yes. Yes. The energy exchange. I think we talked about that. We may have not. It's
Hmm.
always important to exchange that energy with someone, whether it be a physical form of exchange. I know a lot of us in the metaphysical business, we use that payment as the energy exchange so it doesn't deplete us individually. Adapt that into your life. I'm not saying make your friends pay to have access to you. What I'm saying is If they're coming to you with an issue, the exchange is they listen to your issue. You guys lean on each other. Humanity is not one person. We are a united consciousness. We should be a united consciousness that supports each other through our lessons, through our trials and tribulations for ourselves. But we don't take advantage of that in the way that we don't use it to help someone else learn and help ourselves learn.
And I believe if there's not a fair exchange, let's say somebody always dumps their situation on you, but then doesn't really hear you out, doesn't even say, well, how you doing? Identify that and maybe move on because that doesn't serve and support you.
Yes.
And it's also standing up a little bit and putting your boundaries up there, which I believe it's all part of. And by the way, the exchange, I'll never forget, did a hypnotherapy session with somebody and she said, yeah, I just want you to try it out. I'm like, sure. Okay. She goes, send me $1, Venmo me $1. I'm like, but don't I owe you more? No, but you got to send me $1 for the energy exchange.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes.
interesting.
It we just we don't apply it in our life. We think that we are required to listen to friends and family. We're required to be that ear or that support, even if we're not getting anything back. But if you take notice when you do that, you start feeling kind of like, they put this on me. Now I have heavier shoulders. Now I'm carrying the weight of somebody else because they didn't hear what was already weighing me down.
Mm. It's it sounds a little dirty to say this, but I say it to myself sometimes in situations or relationships. What's in it for me? Because I know that I give a lot. I'm an empath, been proven with tests, a surprise for me. Um, but I have to look like, all right, what's in it for me? Like I'm doing all
Mhm.
this for this person over here. Um, if it's just acknowledgement and something that makes you feel good, that they truly appreciate it and you feel it, maybe that's an exchange. I don't know. I guess it depends on what really supports you and makes you feel good. But if you're
Yes.
doing something and not getting something in return, time to reevaluate the situation.
Yes. What's in it for me is a good question to ask if you're not asking it from an ego perspective.
Yes,
That's
that's
where
why
we
I
have
said
to
it sounds
step.
dirty.
Yeah, yeah. But I definitely agree. You need to recognize when you have interactions with people, how it's benefiting you and them, not just one-sided. It needs to be mutual. It needs to be an exchange and not just benefiting one person, because when that happens, there's going to be that negative thought process, and that's going to bring you down if you weren't the one exchanging. And you don't want to impose that on somebody else because I know we talked about this before. Karma will come around. You're going to have to actually face and evaluate what you do wrong. It may not be instantaneously, it may not be tomorrow, but you're going to have to do it. It'll just come in a roundabout way and it's going to smack you in the back of the head.
Might be another lifetime. It is what it is. Just a yeah, final thought on the energy exchange. I see in my mind somebody I know, and I'm very often providing them with help and insight and direction, and they just can't seem to get out of their own way. And I feel bad. Superstar in the making. I mean, oh my gosh, the potential, but just it's almost as if they energetically bring on bad things or just and what's in it for me? Like I find myself like in a conversation, even had one recently, and as I'm thinking about it in my mind as we're talking, I'm going back to that moment where it's just like this conversation should have ended like 15 minutes ago. I already gave you advice. I'm here to help you, and you're still trying to figure it out. I can't help. You can't help those that don't want to be helped. I don't know.
You can't. I actually told this to my mentor. My mentor here is one for development. That's her life path and rescue.
Hmm.
You cannot rescue people if they don't want to do the work. You can't help people if they don't want to help themselves.
Yep.
You can impart effort, but you need to learn to set, like you said, set that boundary and be like, okay, I've given everything I got. If you don't do the work, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And that includes, close relationships. You really,
It does.
and that one smacks you in the face too, but it comes to some point, you can't do anymore. As long as you have genuinely, and it takes two in any relationship. Somebody told me this is kind of funny. A stick has two sides. Okay, I got it.
Okay, that's valid.
It was so basic, but it made me laugh. Like, okay, it's like the grandfather, grandfatherism, but it's true. But if you can honestly say to yourself that, yeah, I've really gone above and beyond with genuineness and love, I can't do any more for them, and I can't let them take me down. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
And I guess it
Mhm.
goes back to the fundamental thing that we've always talked about is you can't control everything, control what you can control, then let the rest go.
Exactly. You can control your actions and your response to others' actions, but you can't control anybody else.
Wow. Um, Great talking with you today.
Great talking.
Like super deep insight and so important for living a great life. And this is just a piece of what you do in helping people with many different modalities. I am going to say here, and I've said it before, but I have to say it again because I repeat it to people from time to time. You said some things in a psychic reading to me that I still laugh at because they were so damn accurate, and no one would have known. Um, just like spot on. Best way to find you. How do we do that?
On my website, insightpsychics.com/Alisha, that'll take you directly to me, or call me 256-469-8111.
Fantastic again talking with you, and always looking forward next time we get together.
I do too. Have a great
All right.
day.
You too. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.